Today we are going to be taking a look at our co-main event for UFC 311, and that is Merab Dvalishvili, and he is taking on the challenger Umar Nurmagomedov. This fight will be for the Bantamweight Championship of the world. And guys, I got to admit something. I did lose a little friendly wager with someone over on the Patreon, Contrarian, that's you. And so at the end of this video, I will be holding up my portion of that bet. So stick around if you want to see that at the end of this video. Now, let's break down this fight here. Merab takes on Umar. Now, both of these guys are easily the top of the division, and both of these guys are 5-0 in the last 5 fights. Both have 18 professional wins. Both of these guys have looked great as of late, but this is an interesting stylistic matchup because we've seen Merab win a lot of fights by pushing a wrestling pace, but he's never had to fight somebody where we question whether or not he has a wrestling advantage, because now he's fighting Umar Nurmagomedov, who also has an extremely good wrestling skill set. Let's go ahead and break down their skills individually, and then we'll see how it ties together. For Umar Nurmagomedov, this dude is a very strong grappler because he has very good takedown ability. He's got a very good single leg, a double leg, but he's able to chain these takedowns together. And what he's able to do, also, if you haven't seen my video on chain wrestling, check that out. I might even link it at the end of this, or you'll see the playlist, one of the two. Either way, he's very good at chaining these takedowns together. And if he fails to get the takedown in space, in the open mat, while chaining these together, well, he's going to push them up against the cage. And once he gets his opponent up against the cage, then he starts working for takedowns there. Because he's very good at making his opponent defend a takedown from multiple angles and multiple different styles. So it's not just going for the legs. Sometimes he'll switch to a body lock. He'll switch around to the back. He'll do whatever he needs to do to get those takedowns. Once he gets you taken down, his control, it's some of the best. He's got some of the best control in the division, probably maybe even the best in the division. It's possible. But good ground and pound as well. And the reason that it's so successful with his ground and pound is he does a really good job at trapping his opponent's arms. And once he traps the arm, that's when he starts letting go with the ground and pound. He'll find his position first, be very position over submission, and then go for the ground and pound. In time, that ground and pound often leads to a rear naked choke. That is his kind of option he gives his opponents. You can either just keep getting hit, or you can turn over, give up your back, and get choked. That's the option he likes to give. Now, in the striking, he's a very solid striker. He can fight out of either stance, which is very impressive. He has kicks to all levels, and he can counter strike really well and has pretty good power for a guy that's at 135 pounds. He can definitely crack. We saw that in the Sandhagen fight. Now, sure, he didn't knock out Sandhagen, but even when Sandhagen started landing, a few shots of his own, Umar would come back and hit him with a shot that you're like, man, that felt way heavier than anything Sandhagen was hitting him with. We also saw Umar knock out Raoni Barcelos a while back, and just one shot put his lights out. I understand Raoni's getting a little older, but point is, Umar does have some power in the hands, power in the kicks, things like that. But on the other side, he's fighting a guy with a very much, although similar in the grappling as far as like that's kind of a style he uses a lot, it's very much a different style of fighter. We've got Merab Dvalishvili. He's a solid grappler as well. Now, his grappling, he's going to chain takedowns together with just relentless volume, and oftentimes it's not even switching takedowns. He's just shooting takedown after takedown after takedown. He's not chain wrestling in the same sense that Umar is, but he's just shooting a ton of volume of takedowns and uses that to shut down his opponent's offense. Now, does he get the takedowns? Sometimes. Sometimes he gets the takedowns. Sometimes he doesn't. And it doesn't matter because he'll drive opponents to the cage, or he'll just keep shooting these takedowns. And one thing that you can't do super well is mount a good offense while you're constantly defending takedowns. That is what Merab Dvalishvili does so well to shut down his opponents. He's done that in a lot of fights. In fact, we've seen it so much that, for example, the Petr Yan fight. This is the one with the most prevalent example of that. He shot a ridiculous number of takedowns, and Yan defended most of them. It's just the volume of them shut down the offense of Yan completely, and he wasn't able to get anything going. That's what you got to worry about when you're fighting a guy like Merab, because he can do this, and even though his top control isn't very good, he can do this the whole fight. The dude has an extremely high motor and insane cardio. Those type of things are going to make it difficult for you to fight a guy like that. Now, in the striking, it's decent, right? Not super polished. His wrestling threat, the ability that for him to just keep shooting those takedowns makes you worry about that, so much so that he can land some stuff that way. He's got a very unorthodox, kind of weird spinning back fist that lands, and it does a very good job at kind of surprising his opponents. He's got a pretty good leg kick too. And his durability is held up, at least for the most part. Now, every now and then you'll see him hurt, but he doesn't seem to go down. He's like a weevil. He'll wobble, but he doesn't fall down type of thing. He's very good at just kind of recovering, getting back to what he's doing, and then getting back to shooting takedowns. So there's that. So when we look at these two, how does this style match up? How does this fight match up, and how do I see it going? Well, for me, what I see Merab pushing an early pace, just shooting takedowns because he's not going to outstrike Umar. Umar's going to be the better striker. There's no doubt about that. If this stays just at striking range and there's no grappling mixed in, Umar. But that's not the case. We are getting a grappling match. So, at least in some sense, we're getting an MMA fight. So we're going to get some grappling. For Merab, what he needs to do is keep shooting these takedowns. Now, how Umar defends these takedowns is going to be dependent on how the fight turns out. So what I'm saying, if Umar does the same thing a lot of fighters do, where they try to just traditionally defend the takedown, stuff it, and then try to get back at range, he's going to end up getting pushed back and just keep having to defend takedowns and then not be able to get his own offense off. However, what I think Umar's strategy is going to be is to either A, reverse said takedown, because if he can reverse the takedown and get on top, that is a position we don't really see Merab in very often, is on his back with a skilled grappler on top. So that is one option for him. Or B, time the takedowns in order to try to either land a submission or a knockout. I'm going to assume submission because I think Umar has the ability to do that. I assume he has the ability to snatch something up. I know his training partner, Islam Makhachev, who is in the main event of this here card. He is very, very accomplished with his Darce choke. I could see Umar doing something similar to that to a guy like Merab. Now, those are the two options I see for Umar if he wants to be able to put the fight into his control. It's either attack with a submission on the takedown entry from Merab, or reverse the position in the takedown and go to get on top. Now, do I think that happens? Not every time. I don't think you can do that the whole time. I don't think you can do the whole fight. I think Merab's going to get in there and shoot a bunch of takedowns, and Umar's going to have to defend them in the way that other fighters have, where they try to get back to space a few times. But at some point, I think Umar's going to be able to reverse position, get on top, and do his work, or catch a submission on Merab. So for me, the pick is clear. The uncrowned champion, soon to be crowned, Umar Nurmagomedov is the champion. And the reason I say that is because I think he's by far the best fighter in this division. I think he will be the champion for a very long time, unless he moves divisions and gives up the belt. But other than that, I think he's the best fighter there is in this division. I just see such a well-rounded, complete fighter. It is what it is. So we're taking Umar Nurmagomedov, but we have a bet to make up for. So let's do that now. All right, boys. So here's the deal. Here we have a nice Kroger brand sugar-free root beer. The reason this is important is Contrarian has bet me that I would have to shotgun this root beer if I lose the bet. That was Carlson Harris. I picked Carlson Harris. He picked Ponzinibbio. If I lost, I would have to shotgun a root beer. Now, I've never shotgunned a drink before, so bear with me. This all stems from when Kendra and I did our live stream a while back, and she had to shotgun a beer, which was very funny. Now it's not as funny because we're going to see how this goes. So I don't have a knife or anything like that, so we're going to use this here putty knife. We're going to make this happen. All right. I'm going to crack this sucker open and see what happens. This is not going to go well. Okay. Oh, man. That's brutal. That is a lot of carbonation. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't liked the video yet, please do so. I'm a man of my word. My eyes are watering. I finished my bet. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.